this week. Well, this is embarrassing. We'll wait for this.
Krista scores points with the locals in Riga as she delves into Latvia's Soviet past. Rajan travels to a remote spot in Wales to find out about a unique painting project.
Did you work out how long it would take you?
No.
And I finish my breakneck journey around the great cities of Japan, this time in Fukuoka.
Delicious. Woo!
First, we send Krista to the eastern part of Europe in one of the 3 Baltic countries, Latvia. And yes, it's the one in the middle.
Winter in Latvia's capital city, Riga, is no joke. But snow and freezing temperatures don't deter tourists from visiting its old town. And there's a good reason for this.
Looking around, it's no wonder that Riga was awarded World Heritage status by UNESCO. You can read Europe's past on its walls.
Latvians have just marked the centenary of the First Latvian Republic. It's such a key part of their history that the celebrations will last over 5 years. And it all revolves around the city's landmark, the Freedom Monument.
This monument stands in the centre of Riga and it's become a symbol of this country's fight for liberty. Inscribed on the front, homeland and freedom. And these are not just empty words. In this place, freedom is well guarded.
That's probably because Latvia's first independence was fragile and short-lived. Like its Baltic neighbours, Latvia was annexed by the Soviet Union after World War II. It remained occupied for another 50 years until 1991.
Hello, you must be Ulris?
Yes,
I'm
nice to
Krista.
meet you.
Good to meet you.
Uldis organises tours with a focus on Latvia's Soviet heritage.
It's actually the most famous Soviet era.
We meet at the bottom of the country's first skyscraper, built in the 1950s.
Oh, that's Stalin's cake by later nickname. Actually, at the present moment, Academy of Sciences and one of the most controversial and most significant buildings from Soviet era in Riga.
I'd be happy to get inside. There's quite a view here.
Oh yes, beautiful. Almost entire Riga is possible to see from here.
When it's, I guess, not snowing quite so much.
Yes, of course. I made those tours for the last 20 years. Those tours became more and more popular amongst the Westerners because you can see plenty of unique things from Soviet era here.
So what was it like for you to grow up under the Soviet regime here?
It was hard time.
So you'd have to queue.
Yeah, even to buy a meat or butter, that was hard time.
So in the early 90s, independence is just around the corner. What were you doing?
I was student and of course I was on barricades. We want not to be under control. We believe that we will live better without this huge big brother.
The Russian bear still projects its shadow over the tiny country. But it's also part of its DNA. About 1 in 4 Latvians are ethnic Russian. And Imants is one of them. A few years ago, he opened a bar for those nostalgic for their youth under the Soviet regime. And it had to include one of Latvia's most popular games, the Novus.
Will you show me? I must hit that one and hit those into the pockets. I mean, this is embarrassing. We'll wait for this. I'll leave it to the professionals now. I think.
Такого плана кафе были во многих районах Риги. Это было место, где люди вечерами встречались, общались и разговаривали. Изначально мы думали, что концепция будет для более среднего и более старшего возраста. Но на сегодняшний момент у нас приходит очень много молодежи, которые хотят увидеть, как отдыхали по вечерам их родители.
So we've got all sorts of Soviet goodies here. It used to be served up during that era. We've got salami, cheese, herring and sprat with egg, all served on bread. And it used to come like this. So you would order 100 ml of vodka and one of these snacks would come as standard just to make sure you didn't get too drunk.
In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed and Latvia regained its independence. Finally enjoying the freedom to travel and settle abroad, many young Latvians chose to leave. Riga has lost almost a third of its population since independence.
A consequence of this exodus is that it's left an extraordinary number of buildings across the city empty, like this one, a former ambulance depot.
But one group of activists is trying to change this.
I was one of the founders of this initiative in 2013.
Working with owners and the municipality, Free Riga turns derelict buildings into social and cultural venues.
So what do we have here now?
So this is a street food place, and over there is a bar with a concert venue. Then there is a co-working, and there are artist residencies.
You've got everything here. Or don't you have here?
Hotel.
No hotel yet, okay. So tell me about some of the events that you hold here, mostly during the summer, I guess. It's a bit cold at the moment.
These are all kind of activities, starting from concerts, exhibitions, workshops. Yeah. The building looks a little bit rough, so the atmosphere is more, how do you say, not rough, but easy going. Yeah, more informal, yeah, exactly. Maybe this will become a new Berlin or something.
Going into the bar next door, there's definitely a Berliner vibe in the air. Only the drinks are local.
I have a black Bolson, please. It's a very little one.
Sure.
Wow. Wow. I think that'll warm me up. It's actually not too bad. Yeah.
And if you're interested to see what else Latvia has to offer, here's what we think you should see and do while you're there. The Latvian coast might not be at the top of your list when you're planning a beach holiday, but Jumala has plenty going for it. There's mile after mile of long sandy beach and loads to do, with museums, galleries, concert halls, and plenty of events and festivals in the summer. It gets busy in peak periods, but it's well worth checking out. For outdoor sports, Gauja is the biggest and oldest national park in the country. You can go hiking, bungee jumping, kayaking, or you can simply try to reconnect with the elements. And it's soon birch water season. Come spring, the park's millions of birches are tapped to extract their delicately sweet sap. The locals think it's a very healthy drink. And finally, a stopover in the grim Karosta former military prison. In its time, it's been used by both the Nazis and Soviet regimes. You can choose a traditional guided tour during the day, which will tell you plenty about its disturbing history, or you can opt for the full overnight experience, complete with terrifying guards, warning gunfire, and verbal abuse. A warning though, it's pretty intense and you will be asked to sign a waiver before taking part. Still to come on this week's travel show. Rajan meets the artist who's taken up the challenge of painting every single person in his city.
Well, the initial project was painting, say, 100 portraits. I just thought, if doing 100, I could do 1,000. And then I thought, well, the population of St. David's.
And I'm against the clock to see 3 of Fukuoka's biggest attractions. Will I do it in time? So don't go away. This week I'm exploring Fukuoka, and while I'm here I just wanted to quickly show you this.
So these are called yatais. They're basically like food trucks, and it's what Fukuoka's become famous for. Check it out, it's like a little restaurant inside.
Most serve traditional Japanese dishes, but away from the main huddle by the banks of the river is what we think is the only French yatai in the whole of Japan.
Your thoughts? Hi. Okay, so what's your specialty here? What's the most popular dish?
You know escargot?
Escargot, snails. Yes, please. Thank you.
Remy Grenard has been here for 18 years, and just recently, his little yatai Chez Remy has been making a name for itself.
Remy, it's such a good atmosphere here.
Merci. It's a good place to meet people.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go to the next yatai together because not only one yatai must move to 2 or 3 yatai.
More from Fukuoka coming up shortly. It's delicious. Oishi.
C'est bon!
Now, if I was to tell you that I was going to paint every single person in one city, you'd say I was mad. Well, not if you go to St. David's in the southern part of Wales, as Rajan has been finding out.
The Pembrokeshire Coast National Park, as remote and rural as it gets.
This is St. David's Peninsula on the southwest tip of Wales. It's a rugged and picturesque part of the world, even in midwinter. But I'm not actually here for scenic beauty. I'm here to find inner beauty.
The streets of St. David's are a bit quieter in the Welsh winter, with relatively few tourists, or grockles as they're called around here.
It's such a small community. There's pretty well only one of everything. One high street, one butcher, one bank.
One bookshop, one town hall, one delicatessen.
And there's one of these.
St. David's Cathedral, built in the 12th century, sits on the site of the old monastery, led by David 600 or so years ago.
And this is why St. David's is a city.
Yep, this tiny community of 1,800 people is officially a city. Britain's smallest and supposedly the second tiniest in the world. Although in the 19th century there was a bit of a setback.
But 150 odd years ago, the Victorians decided this didn't make sense for very small places, and quite a number of cities were no longer cities.
25 years ago, the current Queen rode to the rescue and gave St. David's its city status back. And this man, who first chanced upon St. David's 37 years ago, has been marking its quirky status with a very special pledge.
Well, basically what I start doing with portraits from life is just do a very brief outline of the head.
Because Graham Hurdwood has vowed to paint portraits of every single one of the city's 1,800 residents, plus a few outsiders for the hell of it.
Focus on the eyes, which are obviously a very important part of one's psyche, I think, one's soul. And then that's the focal point, and that just comes through.
Originally a landscape artist, he started doing portraits 14 years ago, but it was only 5 years ago he undertook the mammoth task to do the whole population and then some. He's done 600 so far.
Well, the initial project was painting, say, 100 portraits and having them as one big image, and so it'd be like a big painting. And then I just thought, if doing 100, I could do 1,000. And then I thought, well, the population of St. David's, it's not far off that, and so I just came up. I just thought the idea was the city of portraits. It sounded quite nice, and I thought I'd just try and do it.
Did you work out how long it would take you?
No.
There are probably more art galleries than anything else in St. David's, although in the case of Graham's place, it's also a studio, and his living quarters too. It's a real one-man and his dog operation at the New Street Gallery. His models, however, see it all as a therapeutic exercise as much as anything else.
Well, I've quite enjoyed it really, because I'm a very busy mum, studying, working in a cafe, doing my jewellery. So for me just to sit down, it's a bit of time out really, a bit of time for reflection.
It's a mammoth task for Graham, and the plan is to exhibit the first 800 to 1,000 portraits in the cathedral.
What are you actually achieving by doing this?
A bit of social history, I think. Somebody's described it as. For me personally, it's integrating more and more with the community.
Do people ever complain about the way you've depicted them?
I think people have been slightly shocked. Somebody said possibly a bit jowly there. It doesn't matter what age you depict somebody, you still see an inner beauty.
Oh, and guess what? A few days later, I got this through email. I'm now an honorary citizen of St. David's. But I don't look like that, do I?
For the first time ever, the Rugby World Cup heads to Asia this year. 400,000 sports fans will go and see their teams at 10 host cities around Japan, in what's also a dry run for the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. Some, though, will be worried about Japan's reputation as a place that's tricky to get around if you don't speak the language.
And it's a myth that I think is not always deserved, and to show you why, I'll be exploring 6 of the host cities against the clock.
Fukuoka is the 5th biggest city in Japan and the largest on Kyushu, its southern island. It'll host 3 matches during the first round of the World Cup.
So I've got 90 minutes, the length of time it takes to play a game of rugby, plus 10 minutes for halftime, to see 3 of Fukuoka's highlights.
I've lined up a breakfast date with my friend Ryuzo.
My kind of toast.
Really?
Who's been busy making a plan for me.
So tell me about Fukuoka.
It's a port town with a rich history, but also it's known for its vibrant food culture, which is part of your challenge today.
Oh, sounds good. So how easy is it to get around Fukuoka?
It's easy enough. There's trains and buses running throughout the city.
I've got to get a bus in this challenge? Could all go very wrong.
You can if you take the wrong one. So be sure to get on the one that says number 99.
99.
99.
Okay. So I've got 90 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, go.
So Kushida Shinto Shrine was built in 757 AD, and people come here to pray for longevity. Every winter, people can pass through the gate of a plump woman, the otafuku, which will bring good luck.
So this little machine here will give you your fortune. There's lots of fortunes in different languages, Japanese, Korean, English. Oh, this is good. It says very lucky, travel. What does it say under travel? Good if you act with modesty.
Lastly, I have to try and move this stone, which traditionally sumo wrestlers used to do to test their strength.
Really heavy. Okay. I'm going to call it a day. Listen, this is the start of the challenge. I don't want to throw my back out. I've got to find number 99 bus. Okay, I think this is the road. Oh, I think we just missed it. So now we've got to wait for 18 minutes past. Oh. So this system might seem a bit old-fashioned, but it's actually quite user-friendly. So I've got a number on my ticket, which is 15, and then there's a grid just up above the driver, and it'll tell me 15, and it'll tell me the price underneath it at each stop on how much I need to pay. It's pretty helpful. Arigato. 34 minutes on the clock. Oh dear, that was not time efficient. Okay, now I've got to look for an oyster hut. You can really smell fish around here. I see an oyster. Konnichiwa.
In the winter, oyster huts spring up on the seafront. You can barbecue them yourself and try them with the ponzu, which is citrus vinegar.
But I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Do I eat this now and burn my mouth, or do I wait another minute and risk not completing my challenge in time? Delicious. Woo! We're 42 minutes in. Let's go. That was good timing. Oh, konnichiwa.
So thank goodness we're in a taxi. It's quite a long way away, I think. Sumimasen. This does not look good. We're stuck in local traffic. Time is 1 hour and 19 minutes. 4 minutes behind schedule. Felt like the longest taxi ride ever. Arigatou gozaimasu. Konnichiwa. Wow, look at this place. What am I doing?
Perfect.
Okay, let's do it.
Sample Ricky is a long-established family-owned business where you can make your own artificial food.
Plastic food art is something you see everywhere in Japan. They are displayed outside many restaurants and particularly helpful for non-Japanese speakers to figure out what they want to eat.
So I'm going to have to choose some toppings. Got to have a cherry. Ah, look, I like these strawberries. I only have 3 minutes left. I better be fast. Ah, so I have to sit here. Okay, let's go for chocolates. Chocolates. I used to work in an ice cream shop, I'll have you know. So this is the plastic cream. 3. Go down. Okay. Looks quite good. Okay. So now I have to decorate.
Front side.
And sprinkle. Okay, great. Stop the clock. 1 hour and 32 minutes. 2 minutes overtime. I think that was pretty good though. We did cover a lot of ground. And my ice cream looks delicious. Well, that's it for this week. Coming up next time.
Kate is in Austin, the capital of Texas, to explore all things weird, like this cafe, which provides a furry addition to your cappuccino.
Doesn't like being on TV, he just hit me.
And don't forget, we're also on social media too. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Details for those are on our website. But until next time, from me, Carmen Roberts, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in southern Japan, it's goodbye.